Welcome back, and in some sad news now, legendary cricketer and former Indian captain Mansoor Ali Khan Pataudi, who was admitted to a prominent city hospital last month following lung infection, has passed away. He was 70 years old. He had been moved to the intensive care unit of the Sir Gangaram Hospital in New Delhi. Now, he's survived by Sharmila Tagore and 3 children. Now, Pataudi was in fact the youngest player to captain the Indian Test squad at the age of just 21. He led India in 40 tests and registered India's first overseas Test victory in New Zealand. In fact, the whole cricketing community is seen grieving at this moment. In fact, Mr. N. Srinivasan, the new president of the BCCI, said, and I quote, "I am shocked to hear the news of Tiger Pataudi's demise. He was an exemplary individual who guided Indian cricket to unprecedented heights as batsman, fielder and captain. He revolutionized fielding standards in the Indian team and across the country. In an age wherein a draw was considered as good as a win, Tiger Pataudi encouraged his players to go flat out for a victory. He was an aggressive batsman who excelled in crisis situations and showed the nation how to combat adversity. I join my colleagues in the BCCI to express my condolences at his passing away. His service to Indian cricket will never be forgotten." Unquote. In fact, joining us in this moment of grief is Mr. Lakshmapati Balaji, a renowned Indian bowler at this point. So welcome to the show this evening. Of course, a very sad moment for Indian cricket. We do hear the online space is abuzz with, of course, these messages pouring out at this point. What are the sentiments that are really, what are the sentiments that are coming across right now at this point from the cricketing community?
I think it's the biggest loss. To be honest, if you ask any past cricketers, like, he's one of the greatest cricketer and greatest leader who actually navigated the Indian cricket system as well as the Indian cricket belief in all the international abroad tournament. And he's the one who formed a great character, and he's the first one, actually, to be honest, the greatest leader ever in Indian cricket. So it is very, very saddening, and it is very, very hard to hear that a legend is no more now. And we are all very sincerely sends a condolence to Mr. Pataudi and his family. And it is very deep, heartening thing to realize that he is no more with us anymore.
Right, Mr. Balaji, just a few final thoughts at this point that he was a cricketer of known to be of magnanimous stature who had an impact on a lot of modern day cricketers. If you could recall perhaps one moment that you had with Tiger Pataudi, one moment where he left a mark on you.
I think during our Pakistan tour, he himself was there, and he was really he was a star world of Indian cricket during the 60s, and he made sure that he was there whenever the team needed his support, and he's a pillar of strength for the Indian cricket fraternity for the last 4 decades. And that itself tells us like how important he is and how important his presence is. And he definitely he showed a lot of encouragement to the lot of leaders of Indian cricketers to follow. So that is what I know, because he is the greatest cricketer. That's all.
Right, Mr. Balaji. Thanks a lot so much for joining us. Now, of course, Mr. Balaji there is not alone. We are getting messages from, of course, we have been in touch with the various members of the cricketing community. In fact, the latest to join us at this point is Mr. Krish Srikanth, who's joining us live over the phone line at this point. He's, of course, the chief selector for the Indian cricket team. Mr. Krishnamachari Srikanth, if you can hear me at this point, you go a long way back with Mr. Pataudi. How do you recall the moments that you shared with, of course, the legend who unfortunately passed away tonight?
Yeah, I think it's a very sad loss because, in my opinion, Pataudi brought in style and aggression to Indian cricket. I mean, what I've seen his matches in the good old days, and going to Chepauk and watching his matches, Test matches, Ranji Trophy matches, Ranji Trophy matches, and I've been a great fan of his approach to the game. And his fielding was simply amazing. That's why he was known as Tiger. And he was a guy who showed India can also play an aggressive cricket and attacking cricket. And that's something fantastic about him. And what little I've moved with him on during my little bit of commenting days and other kind of occasions, he's quite a simple guy. I mean, unlike people think, he's approachable, very friendly, and he has a very good sense of humor. And that's what I liked about him. In fact, I remember initially I used to say, should I call sir? He said, don't call me sir, call me Tiger. And that is what he used to, tell me. And he's a great loss because he was the one who really, in the earlier days, brought in that kind of, the Indians can also hit bowling all over the world. I mean, all over the park. That kind of concept was brought in by Nawab Fatali.
Well, absolutely, Mr. Srikanth. One final question for you at this point. Of course, the modern generation associates more with the T20 format of playing with the IPL. But of course, this is one gentleman that we're discussing here, one who had a tremendous amount of impact as far as the Indian cricketing landscape is concerned. So recall, in the interest of our viewers, the kind of impact that Tiger had, that Mr. Pataudi had on the Indian cricketing landscape.
I mean, as I said, Pataudi is still a legend, always a legend. Because imagine captaining a country at the age of 21 and taking the mantle of captaincy. And he led from the front, and he had his own, he commanded respect from people, which is something amazing.
Absolutely, Mr. Srikanth. Thanks so much for joining us, for your kind thoughts at this point. Of course, a sad moment for cricketing fans, not just in the country, not just in India, but across the world. Now, moving ahead. What's the Madras Motorsports Club without the sound of engines running or smell of burning rubber or tarmac? Now, not much really. Today, however, the atmosphere was unique. It smelled of a very different formula. With the Indian Grand Prix a month away, the buzz was let's check and double check those nuts and bolts. Natasha Doraisamy finds out more.
It's not just the people who are revved up here in India, it's the cars too. The Formula MRF support event to the Indian Grand Prix next month has promised drivers as young as 17 and upwards a platform that might help them catch the right eyeballs. Some, like India's rally king Gaurav Gill and national champ Ashwin Sundar, have tweaked racing schedules just to accommodate this support race.
It's gonna be a big jump because Formula 1 is gonna happen and most of the top people are gonna be there. So I can't say anything more. And I can't get any much bigger exposure.
It's been a few years that I've been racing and rallying in and out of the country and in international events. So it's definitely not easy for me to switch off out of a Formula car and go straight into a rally car or do the vice versa. And it gets a little difficult, but it does take a little while. And it's just one attitude, which is go for it all the time. I think that helps me to be on the top.
But for others, like the UK's first ever woman national champion, it's all about having a one-up over the boys, playing the lady card.
I've never driven at the same weekend or the same time as the Formula 1 cars have. So it's going to be amazing crowds and it's going to be a great atmosphere, so I really can't wait.
Repairing clutch pads, brake oil checks, setting gear ratios and changing them. The paddock is their home till that race exposure on the same weekend of the Indian Grand Prix. This prep session here is all these drivers are going to get before their 2 30-minute practice sessions in the capital. But apart from the fact that Delhi lacks the humidity that Chennai has, all these drivers are looking for is that big exposure that the Indian GP support race has to offer. In Chennai, Natasha Doraisamy for NDTV Hindu.
Well, that's all we have time for. We'll return with more news and updates at the top of next hour. Keep watching.